Welcome. Just picked up my first order of the evening and off to deliver, well, 2 deliveries here. It's a beautiful evening here in Sheffield. It's been a beautiful day. It's really delightful to be out in this weather delivering, and been getting orders coming through pretty quickly. I'm finding there's a kind of a limit to what you can actually discuss and talk about when you're out delivering. And there's only so much you can say about the delivering process itself. You know, you go, you pick it up, you go and deliver it. Very occasionally something interesting or unusual or scary will happen, but it's pretty much standard stuff most of the time. So, and I've noticed, you know, people on YouTube who do this have to come up with new and exciting ways to make it fun and different by doing little sort of dares or challenges. And I'm a bit too old for that kind of stuff. So I thought what I would do is talk about the thing that kind of interests me the most, and probably the reason I decided to start doing this channel. That's really to talk about sort of technology. You know, I did this channel because I was interested in learning how to kind of record video and audio and how to edit. And so what I really wanted to do was to just sort of talk about technology, talk about tech products I'm using, give some sort of impressionistic reviews of stuff. Some of it might be related to going out on the bike, but some of it would just be gadgets and tech that I'm interested in, or I've bought recently, or I find really useful, or I think people might be quite interested in. And I'll kind of intersperse that with the deliveries as well. I'll try to keep it too briefish, so you don't have to sit through too many deliveries before you get to the tech stuff if you're interested in that. Hi, is this your order?
Yes.
Okay, I just said there was a bit of conflict with the cars up there. Are you? Yeah. Okay, go on. You can take that. Cheers. I just get my bag. All right, that's the first order done. A bit confusing, that one. The customer wasn't there, and then we kind of turned up, and then there was some cars trying to navigate down these narrow Sheffield streets, but we kind of got there in the end. So yeah, so the first thing I'd like to sort of talk, the first tech product I really want to talk about, which I've had ready for the last 6 months ago, so it's 6 months or so, is sort of a handheld PC, gaming PC called the Lenovo Legion Go. And, you know, I've been interested in sort of handhelds and sort of gaming handhelds for years, really, right back to the days of sort of Game Boy and things like that. And, you know, through things like the Nintendo DS and PS Vita and PSP and all of those wonderful things, and you know, I kind of dropped off them a bit, but over the last couple of years they became kind of attractive to me after sort of we got the Switch for me and the kids to play with, and but I wanted to really play a lot of the kind of PC games that you couldn't really play properly on the Switch. So I was really looking for some sort of handheld that you could do that with. And you know, I do have a computer that can play computer games, but I don't really want to spend my evenings sort of sat in front of the computer when I spend all day in front of the computer as well. So so I was curious to see what was out there, and I think until about a year ago, or about 6 months ago, I had I bought what's called a Steam Deck, which is sort of a Switch-like experience, but for playing PC games, obviously made by Steam, who have their own store, and you can buy all the games on. And I absolutely had that for about a year, and really loved it. It was such a comfortable device. It was a decent battery life on it, but it struggled to run some of the more recent games that I wanted to play, and perhaps more importantly for me, it didn't run, because it's not a Windows device, it doesn't run all of the games that I wanted to play, particularly things like Fortnite and Rocket League. I play those with my sons. Good bonding experience for me. I also have Xbox Game Pass. I got that kind of free with my broadband, and you can't use that on the Steam Deck. So I decided in the end, you know, rather reluctantly to sell it, because I really did love that device. It was so comfortable to hold and to play with. And I think there are a few options. I mean, there's a few Chinese manufacturers who make these sort of Windows handheld PCs, but they can be quite expensive, and also customer service obviously is a bit hit and miss. Something goes wrong with it, trying to sort of get it back to China is quite tricky. So I wanted something you could buy sort of locally, or in the country at least. And the two options were the Asus ROG Ally, I think it's called, and the Lenovo Legion Go. And I consider them both. I think the reason I didn't get the Asus ROG Ally was the screen was still quite small. The 7-inch, I quite like having a slightly larger screen, and the Lenovo Legion Go has a larger screen. And the Asus ROG Ally was still quite small. I think I'd read up on it a little bit, and there did seem to be some technical issues with the device, particularly with the SD card. SD card's not working when you put it in there, so and I know that the battery life was supposed to be pretty poor on there as well, so I kind of dismissed that out of hand and decided to go with the Lenovo Legion Go, simply because they're about the same sort of power, same sort of graphical capabilities, but the Lenovo Legion Go was a much bigger screen, sort of 8 inches, and with my aging middle-aged eyes, it's nice to have a bigger screen to look at, be able to read sort of tiny text and things like that. I also like the fact that I had a kind of a kickstand behind it, so you could sort of stand it up nicely. The other kind of thing that was appealing to me was that you could kind of remove the controllers, these detachable controllers, a bit like the Switch. Now, I didn't really want to play with them detached. However, one other thought I had for using it was to use it as a kind of a second PC. So if I have to travel, which I do occasionally for my work, I could just kind of pop it in without the controllers and a small keyboard or mouse or whatever, and then I could just use that rather than have to lug around a big laptop all the time. So I got it about 6 months ago, and I've been extremely happy with it. It's not perfect, and I'll talk a little bit about what aspects of it are less than perfect in a bit, but I'll sort of focus to begin with on what I really like about the device. And the first thing is the size. The size is fantastic in terms of the screen. It's so easy to see everything. It's really bright, and when you're playing a game, it does feel like you've got a nice sort of almost like a big TV right in front of your face. Sometimes with these smaller devices like the Switch or even the Steam Deck, sometimes it did feel pretty small. Okay, just got another order coming in there, so just accept that one because it's quite near to where we're going here, so it shouldn't be a big jump. Another thing I like about the Legion Go is the performance is pretty good, certainly better than the Steam Deck. Certainly some of the games that wouldn't run on the Steam Deck, some of the sort of more modern titles like God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2, they run perfectly fine on the Legion Go. And I've even, I've bought a couple of recent games. I quite like sort of the new tennis game called Topspin, which is rather fun, and that runs absolutely fine. So you do have to sort of fiddle with the settings a little bit, sort of drop them down sometimes, just to make the graphics a little bit faster. But it's generally not too much messing around with it to make it work. All right, mate. How are you? There you go. Have a great evening. Okay, I just dropped that one off, and now I've got to go to the next one, which is just around the corner. So this is kind of perfect, getting these orders so closely together. Cheers, mate. Okay, let's get off to deliver this order. As I was saying about the Lenovo Legion Go, it has proved to be a great device, and plenty of storage on it. It comes with 512 gig, but I've installed SD card on it. This gives it another 512. and there doesn't seem to be a big difference between running games off the SD card and running it off the sort of the hard drive of the device itself. The other thing that doesn't really bother me, which I know a lot of people don't like, is Windows itself. It certainly is clunky, and it's not like playing on a console or playing on the Switch or even playing on the Steam Deck. It is basically a computer, a shrunken down computer with controllers on it, and you kind of have to deal with all the sort of the updates and sort of the general weirdness of Windows. But on the whole, I don't find it a big issue at all. I just stick shortcuts to the games I want to play on the home screen, and then just click on them from there to get to them. I know people use some of these kind of launchers to make it look a bit more like a Switch or a console or something like that, but for me, I just want to get to the game. I don't really care about the kind of the front end, as long as it opens up the game and the game works. That's all I really care about. So I think those are the real pluses of the machine. And like I said, it does function quite neatly as a backup PC, and I did use it when I travelled recently, and I didn't need to take my laptop. In fact, what I took was the Lenovo Legion Go, and then used my Samsung tablet, which you can use as kind of a second screen, but then I kind of reversed it so the Samsung tablet became the first screen and the Lenovo Legion Go was the second one. I had quite a neat little 2-screen setup with a 12-inch tablet and a kind of a 9-inch PC, and that worked really, really well. So if you do want a second PC and you don't want it to have the kind of controllers always on them and you can sort of take them off, then I think that works really nicely. I know it does have this kind of special mode, I think it's called FPS mode, where you can kind of use one of the controllers as a mouse. You put it into this like little base, and then it's supposed to be sort of simulating sort of a mouse and keyboard, but with these 2 controllers. But I don't really play first-person shooter games, so that's kind of irrelevant to me. And that perhaps leads on to some of the negatives of the device. One of the consequences of having this special mode where you're doing first-person games is it has a load of buttons on the back of the controllers, and these kind of replicate mouse buttons and various other things, scroll wheels and stuff like that. But since I don't really use them, all I've got is just a bunch of these kind of annoying buttons at the back that you're constantly pressing. They don't really do anything. I think you can assign different things to them, but I don't. And it does feel a bit weird and a bit uncomfortable when you're doing it. And I think that's the other thing. I do find the actual sort of ergonomics not as comfortable with some of these other devices. Certainly comfier than the Switch, which is deeply uncomfortable for my large hands, but nowhere near as comfortable as the Steam Deck. It's slightly weirdly angular shape to these controllers, and they do dig into your fingers or your palms a little bit when you're playing. So, the actual buttons themselves, the controller sticks and the D-pad and everything, they're fine, but I do find the comfort not 100%. I think the other negative really is the battery life. When I was doing research about it, they said the battery life on the Lenovo Legion Go is kind of better than some of these other Windows devices, but I found it to be pretty poor, actually. You get maybe, on some of these sort of modern games, you're probably getting an hour, maybe a bit over. On some older games or indie titles, you're looking at 2 to 3 hours, maybe. Hi there, is it Go? Yes. Not too bad, how are you?
Not bad.
There you go, enjoy. Have a great evening. Bye-bye. Okay, so the question is, would I recommend the Lenovo Legion Go? I think it really depends on the kind of use case and what you want to use it for, and I think, if, like me, you want something that you want to be able to play PC games, you want to be able to kind of sit on the couch with a family and do it rather than sit in front of a computer and do it, and you're looking for a device which can play games across different stores, Steam, Epic, Xbox Games Pass, these kinds of things. If you want something with a slightly bigger screen and also something which could also function as a PC in a push, then it's definitely one worth going for. It's not cheap, you know, we're looking at around 700 quid, although it does occasionally go on sale as well, or you can get find sort of refurbished ones on sometimes on eBay and things like that. So it might be worth kind of scouting around to see what's out there. But you know, like I said, it really fit my particular circumstances. And if yours are kind of similar to mine, then it might be the device for you. It's not a small device, especially once you've got the controllers connected. So you know, it is a bit of a beefy one, but it's definitely worth it. All right, got another order coming in. A place called Cookies and Cream. Let's go and pick up from that. All right, mate. An order for. So yeah, let us know in the comments if you're interested in sort of PC handhelds. Do you have one yourself? Do you play things like the Switch, or do you have a Steam Deck? Asus ROG Ally. What do you think of them all? How do they work for you? What kind of games do you play on them? You know, I play kind of a mixture of some more modern stuff, like a lot of sports games, like driving games. Like I said, I've been playing the tennis game Top Spin quite a lot lately. I've been really enjoying that. Some PJ Tour, but I like driving games like Wreckfest and Grid, various Grid Legends, Dirt 4, Dirt 5, those kinds of things. Lots of fun. Hi there, mate. There you go. Cheers, mate. Have a good one. Bye. Okay. Well, it's been a brisk evening. Quite a few orders already. Been out about less than an hour, I'd say, and I've made about £16, all on Uber Eats today, which is a surprise. Like I said at the beginning, I am now on Deliveroo, and I've got them both running on my phone, but I didn't really get much from Deliveroo this evening, which is a bit of a shame, because like I said, they do seem to pay a little bit better on the whole. But I'll be out for maybe another hour or so, and I'll see if anything comes in from them. Alright, just had another order come in from the place I just delivered from, actually, a place called Cookies and Cream. So there's various kind of cakes and shakes. Alright, mate, back again. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. One Coke and one Rubicon Mango, no problem. Is it original Coke? Yeah. I do both, yeah. Well, not the same. I do one, and then if I then go offline on the other one. I think there's a lot of riders who have like two phones, and they'll be doing one. Well, I think the problem is I think people get their food cold a lot of the time because they're doing two deliveries at the same time, basically. Yeah, done it. Cheers.